Eva's heels clicked against Italian marble like a metronome counting down to execution. The sound echoed through Lee Enterprises' 40th floor corridor. Sharp, rhythmic, unnaturally loud in the pre-dawn quiet. Her stomach twisted with each step. The burgundy Chanel suit Shawn had sent to her apartment yesterday hung perfectly on her frame, the fabric whispering against her skin like expensive secrets. She'd never worn anything that cost more than her monthly rent before. Now she wore power like a second skin that didn't quite fit. The conference room doors were solid mahogany, 12 feet tall, imposing as cathedral gates. Through the frosted glass panels, she saw silhouettes. 7 men, waiting, judging before she even entered. Shawn's assistant, a severe woman named Mrs. Park with steel-gray hair and sharper eyes, opened the doors without knocking. The room went silent. 7 pairs of eyes landed on Eva like physical weight. The conference table was a single slab of black walnut that probably cost more than her car. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked Seoul's Gangnam district, a concrete and glass jungle spreading to the horizon, morning sun turning windows into molten gold. Shawn sat at the head of the table. He didn't stand, didn't smile, just watched her enter with those dark, unreadable eyes, gray-black-white hair catching light like frost on coal. The scar along his jawline was a thin shadow. His charcoal suit was custom. She could tell by how it moved with him, like it was part of his body rather than covering it. "Gentlemen," his voice cut through the silence like a blade through silk. Eva Tomfield, director of the Lee Cultural Foundation. She walked to the empty chair beside him, felt their stares tracking her movement, cataloging, dismissing. One man, 60s, jowls, expensive watch, leaned toward the colleague beside him, whispered in Korean, assuming she wouldn't understand. "Is this the middle-aged teacher he's fucking? How long before he gets bored?" The words landed like ice water down her spine. Eva set her portfolio on the table, turned to face him directly, responded in flawless Korean, each syllable precise as a scalpel. "Long enough to outlast your 4th wife, Mr. Cho. I hear she's already meeting with divorce attorneys." The man's face went from pink to crimson to gray in 3 seconds flat. Silence crashed over the room like a wave. Shawn's fingers drummed once against the table, the only indication he'd heard. His expression remained neutral, carved from granite. But something flickered in his eyes. Dark, pleased, possessive. "Shall we begin?" Eva opened her portfolio. Her hands didn't shake. She wouldn't let them. "I've prepared a comprehensive curriculum for the Lee Cultural Foundation's literature program. 3 tiers based on age and skill level. Partnership proposals with 5 Seoul public schools in underprivileged districts. And projected impact assessments for the first 18 months. She presented for 20 minutes. Her voice stayed steady, professional. She taught parents and administrators for 15 years, knew how to command a room even when they wanted to diminish her. The numbers were solid. Her vision was clear. The curriculum she designed would actually change lives, not just look good in press releases. When she finished, the youngest board member, 40s, horn-rimmed glasses, more thoughtful than the others, nodded slowly. "This is actually impressive. The community partnerships especially. We'd get better optics and genuine impact." "That's the goal," Eva said simply. Mr. Cho cleared his throat, still red-faced. "And your qualifications?" Besides, he stopped himself. Wisely. 15 years teaching English literature and creative writing at Seoul International Academy. Master's degree in education from Yonsei University. Published poetry in 3 literary journals before I stopped writing to focus on teaching. She met his eyes steadily. "And 25 years of understanding what it's like to feel invisible. To believe your voice doesn't matter. That's the real qualification, Mr. Cho. I know exactly who these programs are for because I've lived invisible." Shawn's hand moved, rested on the table near hers. Not touching, but close enough she felt the heat of him. "Any other questions?" His voice was soft, dangerous, the kind of soft that made grown men reconsider their words. No one spoke. "Good. Eva's budget is approved. Her hiring decisions are final. She reports directly to me. Anyone who has issues with that can tender their resignation effective immediately. He stood. Meeting over. Eva. My office. Now. He walked out. She gathered her portfolio with hands that finally trembled. Followed him down the corridor to corner office doors that required a keycard and fingerprint scan. The door closed behind them with a soft click. Shawn's office was minimalist. Expensive leather, dark wood, that same wall of windows overlooking Seoul. A city he'd conquered through blood and brilliance. His desk was clear except for a single photo frame she couldn't see from this angle. He moved fast. One moment he was across the room. The next he had her pressed against the window. His body a wall of heat and muscle and barely restrained want. His hands framed her face, tilted it up. The glass was cold against her back. He was fire against her front. You were magnificent. His voice was rough. Watching you eviscerate Cho in Korean. His forehead touched hers. I wanted to bend you over that conference table and make every man in that room understand your mind. Heat flooded through her. Low. Insistent. That would have undermined my professional credibility. I don't care about your professional credibility. His thumb traced her lower lip. I care that you walked into a room full of men who wanted to dismiss you and you made them see you. Made them respect you. Do you understand what that does to me? She couldn't breathe. 49 years old, and he made her feel like a teenager dizzy with first love. Except this wasn't first love. This was something darker, more consuming. Shawn! He kissed her. Not gentle, not careful. His mouth claimed hers like he was starving and she was sustenance. His hands slid from her face to her waist, gripped hard enough to bruise. She tasted coffee and possession on his tongue. Her fingers fisted in his suit jacket, pulling him closer even though there was no space left between them. Seoul sprawled 40 stories below. Anyone in the surrounding buildings could see them. She didn't care. His teeth scraped her lower lip. She gasped. He swallowed the sound. When he finally pulled back, they were both breathing hard. His hair was mussed where her fingers had tangled in it. His eyes were black with want. Come home with me tonight, he murmured against her mouth. Stay. Stop going back to your apartment like we're casual. Like this is something small. Shawn, I want you in my bed every night. I want your coffee mug next to mine in the morning. I want your books on my shelves and your terrible floral apron in my kitchen. His hands tightened on her waist. I want to stop pretending this is temporary. Her heart hammered against her ribs. That's fast. It's been 32 years. That's not fast. That's glacial. He kissed her again. Softer this time. Almost tender. Say yes, Eva. She should say no. Should remember all the reasons this was complicated. His world. Her daughter's concerns. The fact that 6 months ago she was invisible and now she was pressed against a window 40 stories up with a dangerous man's hands on her body. Yes. His smile was slow, victorious, devastating. Good girl. His phone vibrated on the desk. Once, twice, 3 times in rapid succession. The buzzing cut through the intimate bubble they'd created, insistent and sharp. Shawn's jaw tightened. He didn't move to answer it. You should get that, Eva said softly. It can wait. The phone rang. Full volume this time. The ringtone was custom, something classical, Vivaldi maybe, which meant it was someone important enough to break through his do not disturb settings. Shawn exhaled through his nose, released her reluctantly, walked to his desk and picked up the phone. His expression went from irritated to carefully blank in the space of a heartbeat. Amanda. The name hit Eva like a fist to the sternum. She watched his face as he listened, watched the micro-expressions he couldn't quite hide. Surprise, then something harder. His free hand curled into a fist on the desk. I see. His voice was cold, professional, nothing like the rough warmth he'd used with her moments ago. And you're in Seoul now? Pause. No, that's not necessary. Longer pause. His jaw worked. I'm with someone. It's serious. Eva's heart kicked against her ribs. That's not your concern anymore. His eyes found Eva's across the office. Held. I have to go. Don't call this number again. He ended the call. Set the phone down with deliberate control. Silence stretched between them like wire pulled taut. Your ex-fiancée, Eva said. Not a question. Yes. She's in Seoul. Yes. Eva smoothed her skirt. Tried to ignore the cold settling in her stomach. Does she want you back? Shawn crossed the office in 3 strides. Took her face in his hands again. I don't care what she wants. I care what I want. And I want you. She's going to be a problem. She's going to be nothing. His voice was steel wrapped in silk. Amanda Chun is my past. You are my present and my future. That's not negotiable. But Eva heard what he didn't say. Amanda wouldn't give up easily. Women like that never did. Soul lovers, before we continue, I want to know where you are watching and what time it is right now. I love seeing how far our global audience reaches. And if you haven't watched part 1 yet, then check out the link in the description box. Now let's get back to Eva and Shawn's story. The Lee Cultural Foundation opened on a Tuesday in October, when Seoul's autumn air turned crisp and gold leaves scattered across concrete like scattered prayers. Eva stood in the 3rd-floor library space, breathing in the smell of new paint and fresh possibilities. Floor-to-ceiling windows faced east, just as Shawn had promised, flooding the room with morning light that made the polished wood floors glow honey-warm. Bookshelves lined the walls, already filled with poetry collections, novels, writing guides in both Korean and English. 30 desks arranged in a semicircle. A reading corner with oversized cushions where kids could curl up and disappear into stories. Her dream, made real by a man who'd spent 32 years remembering she'd once wanted to matter. Mom! Eva turned. Mina stood in the doorway, backpack slung over one shoulder, camera hanging from her neck. 23 and beautiful in that careless way young people were beautiful, clear skin, sharp eyes, the certainty that the world owed her honesty. She hadn't called ahead, hadn't texted, just showed up, which meant this wasn't a social visit. Mina. Hi. Eva's smile felt fragile. What do you think? Her daughter walked into the space slowly, assessing. Took in the books, the desks, the wall where Eva had hung student poetry from her old school. Permission granted, frames paid for by Shawn. Her camera came up. She snapped a few shots. The click and whir felt like judgment. It's nice. Mina lowered the camera. Really nice. Professional. But you know what he is, right? Mina's voice was quiet, careful. Mom, you know the rumors about Shawn Lee aren't just rumors. Eva had been expecting this. Had practiced responses in her head for weeks. None of them felt adequate now, standing in front of her daughter's worried face. I know exactly what he is. And you're okay with it? Mina's voice cracked slightly. You're okay being with a man who's probably killed people? Who runs operations that aren't entirely legal? The bluntness of it landed like a slap. But Eva didn't flinch. Couldn't afford to. I'm okay being with a man who sees me, who wants me, who chose me 32 years ago and never stopped choosing me. She moved closer to her daughter. Mina, I spent 3 years invisible after your father left. I spent 15 years before that being invisible in my own marriage. Shawn makes me feel alive. That's worth more than you understand right now. It's not worth getting hurt, or arrested, or, Mina gestured helplessly, or worse. I'm not naive. I know his world is dangerous. Eva took her daughter's hand. But I'm choosing it anyway, and I need you to respect that choice, even if you don't understand it. Mina's eyes went glassy. I just got you back. After Dad left, after you spent a year barely functioning, I just got my mom back. And now you're with someone who could take you away again. Permanently. The fear in her voice was raw, real. Eva pulled her daughter into a hug, felt her stiffen then soften, felt the slight tremor that meant tears were close. I'm not going anywhere, Eva murmured against her hair. I promise. It was a promise she wasn't sure she could keep. But Mina needed to hear it anyway. 3 days later, Mina sat in a coffee shop in Itaewon, Americano going cold between her hands, when Shawn Lee slid into the seat across from her. She startled. Hadn't seen him approach. He moved like a predator, silent, efficient, always aware of his surroundings. "Don't freak out," he said mildly. "I just want to talk." Mina's hand moved toward her phone. Defensive instinct. "Your mother doesn't know I'm here." Shawn's gray-black-white hair was slightly disheveled, like he'd been running his hands through it. The scar on his jaw caught afternoon light. "And I'd prefer to keep it that way. This is between us. If you're here to threaten me, I'm here to offer you a job." He pushed a business card across the table. Embossed lettering, Lee Gallery Contemporary. Opening spring 2026. Mina stared at it. "What? Your mother says you want to be a photographer." His dark eyes held hers steadily. "I'm opening a gallery space. Contemporary art. Emerging artists. I need someone young. Fresh perspective. Someone who understands what it's like to have something to prove." "Why would you?" Mina's throat went tight. "This is because of Mom. This is because I looked at your Instagram." He pulled out his phone, scrolled, showed her his screen, her profile, her photos. Street photography mostly, Seoul at night, faces in crowds, loneliness captured in high-contrast black and white. "You're talented, bro. You see things other people miss." Mina's hands trembled slightly. No one had ever looked at her work, really looked, except her college professor who'd encouraged her to pursue it professionally. Certainly not a billionaire with connections that could actually launch a career. "I don't understand." Her voice came out smaller than she intended. "I've been a bitch to you. You've been protective of your mother." Shawn leaned back, casual, non-threatening. "I respect that. I'd be concerned if you weren't suspicious of me. Are you good for her?" The question hung between them. Mina watched his face carefully, looking for lies, for the smooth deflection she expected. "I'm dangerous for her," he said finally, honest in a way that surprised her. "But I'm also the only man who's ever truly seen her, including your father." He held her gaze. "I won't hurt her intentionally, but my world is dangerous. She's choosing to be in it. Your job isn't to protect her from me. It's to support her choice." Mina processed this, turned the business card over in her hands. "She's been different since you came back. Happier, but also scared sometimes, like she's waiting for it to end." Something flickered across Shawn's face. Pain, maybe, or determination. "I'm not ending it." His voice was quiet, certain. "I've waited 32 years. I'm not letting her go now. Not ever." The intensity of it should have been creepy, obsessive. But Mina heard the truth underneath. This man loved her mother with a completeness that was almost frightening. The way he said it sent ice down Mina's spine. This was the dangerous man everyone warned about. The one who eliminated problems efficiently and without mercy. "Don't hurt her," Mina said quickly. "I won't hurt her." Shawn stood. He walked out without taking the business card back. Left it sitting on the table between Mina's cold coffee and her phone. She picked it up, studied it, thought about her mother's face when she talked about the cultural center. The way she glowed now, alive in a way she hadn't been in years. Mina pulled out her phone, texted the number on the card. "This is Mina. When do I start?" The response came 30 seconds later. "Monday, 9 a.m. Welcome to the team. SL." The gala opening was Friday night. Black tie. Seoul's elite crowding into the cultural center's main hall. Champagne flutes glinting under crystal chandeliers. Designer gowns swirling across marble floors. Eva wore emerald green. Shawn's choice. The dress hugged her curves, made her gray-streaked black hair look striking instead of old. She'd stopped apologizing for her age, stopped trying to hide the silver. Shawn loved it, traced the gray strands with his fingers and called her distinguished. She was learning to believe him. He stood across the room, surrounded by business associates, but his eyes kept finding hers. Every few minutes, that dark gaze would track her movement, checking, claiming, promising things that made heat pool low in her stomach. Eva was talking to the mother of one of her students, a woman who'd been skeptical about the program until her son started writing poetry instead of getting into fights. When the temperature in the room changed, Conversations didn't stop, but they shifted, quieted, everyone's attention subtly redirecting. Eva turned. Amanda Chun stood in the entrance. Tall, stunning, 42 but could pass for 35 in the right light, and this was definitely the right light. Her black cocktail dress was Dior. Eva recognized it from a magazine Mina had left at her apartment. Sleek, expensive, perfect. Her hair fell in glossy sheets to her shoulders. Her makeup was flawless. Everything Eva wasn't. Amanda's eyes scanned the room. Found Shawn. Her smile was bright, familiar. She moved toward him with the confidence of someone who belonged in his orbit. Eva's stomach clenched. She watched Amanda reach Shawn. Watched her lean in and air kiss both his cheeks. Too intimate, too comfortable. Watched Shawn's body language go rigid, controlled. His face a mask of polite disinterest that didn't quite hide the tension in his jaw. Amanda said something. Shawn responded. Short, clipped. Then Amanda's gaze found Eva across the room. The assessment was instant, thorough. Eva felt it like fingers trailing over her skin, cataloging every flaw, every year, every gray hair and laugh line and curve that wasn't quite taut enough. Amanda's smile sharpened. She excused herself from Shawn, walked directly toward Eva with predatory grace. You must be Eva Tomfield. Amanda's voice was smooth, American accented, warm in a way that felt calculated. I'm Amanda Chen, an old friend of Shawn's. Friend. The word was a lie wrapped in silk. I know who you are. Eva kept her voice steady. Professional. Do you? Amanda's smile didn't waver. Then you know Shawn and I were engaged. 2 years. We built something real together. Something that fit. The barb landed exactly where Amanda intended. Eva felt it lodge between her ribs. Past tense, Eva said quietly. Is it? Amanda sipped her champagne. I'm back in Seoul permanently, opening an office here, which means Shawn and I will be seeing a lot of each other. Business partnerships have a way of reigniting old flames. Eva's hands trembled. She clasped them together, refused to give Amanda the satisfaction of seeing her shake. Shawn's made his choice. Has he? Amanda's eyes glittered. Or are you just a good distraction? Nostalgia is powerful. First loves always hold a special place. But nostalgia fades, Eva. And when it does, he'll remember what he actually needs. Someone who understands his world. Someone who can navigate it. She paused, delivered the killing blow with surgical precision. Someone who isn't, well, past her prime. The words hit like acid. Eva couldn't speak, couldn't breathe, just stood there while Amanda smiled and walked away, leaving poison in her wake. Across the room, Shawn was watching. His eyes met Eva's, questioning. She forced a smile, nodded, turned away before he could see her face crumble. She needed air, needed space, needed to remember how to breathe around the crushing weight of inadequacy. Past her prime. The words echoed with every heartbeat. Past her prime. Eva stayed until the last guest left. She smiled, shook hands, accepted compliments on the cultural center with grace she didn't feel, played the role of confident director while Amanda's words burrowed under her skin like parasites. Past her prime. When the final donor departed, when the catering staff finished packing up champagne flutes and half-eaten canapes, when the building fell into that particular silence of empty spaces that had been full, Shawn found her in the third-floor library. She stood at the windows. Seoul glittered below, millions of lights like fallen stars. Her reflection in the glass looked tired, old. The emerald dress that had felt elegant 4 hours ago now felt like a costume she had no right to wear. Eva. His voice was soft, careful, the way you'd speak to something wild that might bolt. She didn't turn. It was a good night. The donors were impressed. We exceeded our fundraising goal by 30%. What did Amanda say to you? The question landed like a stone in still water. Nothing important. Eva, look at me. She couldn't. If she looked at him, at those dark eyes that saw too much, she'd shatter. She just introduced herself. That's all. You're lying. He moved closer. She felt his heat at her back. You've been different since she approached you. Distant. What did she say? Everything. Nothing. Words designed to expose every insecurity Eva had spent months learning to ignore. It doesn't matter. It matters to me. His hands settled on her shoulders. Gentle. Grounding. Tell me. Eva closed her eyes. She said nostalgia fades. That I'm a distraction. That you'll eventually remember what you actually need. Someone who fits in your world. Someone who's... Her voice cracked. Someone who isn't past her prime. Shawn's hands tightened. She said that. Not a question. A statement carved from ice and rage. She's not wrong. Eva's reflection blurred. Tears she'd been holding back for hours finally spilled over. Look at me, Shawn. Really look. I'm 49. Gray hair. Wrinkles. 20 pounds heavier than I should be. I teach poetry to teenagers. I drive a Honda. I shop at mid-range department stores and clip coupons and... He spun her around. Fast. His hands framed her face, forcing her to meet his eyes. I am looking at you. His voice was rough. I've been looking at you for 32 years. I see every gray hair, every line, every curve. And you're the most beautiful woman I've ever known. You're biased. I'm honest. His thumbs wiped her tears. Amanda is jealous, bitter. She wanted me to be someone I'm not. Someone safe and acceptable who'd fit in her venture capitalist world. When I wouldn't change, she left. Good riddance. But she's right about one thing. Eva's hands came up to his wrists, held on like he was the only solid thing in a tilting world. I don't fit in your world either. Tonight proved it. The way people looked at me, the whispers, everyone wondering what you're doing with a middle-aged teacher when you could have you. He cut her off. I could have you. That's all I want. All I've ever wanted. For how long? The question ripped out of her. How long before you wake up and realize Amanda was right? That I'm just nostalgia? A midlife crisis. His jaw clenched. Is that what you think this is? I don't know what to think anymore. Then let me make it clear. He released her face, stepped back. I love you, Eva. Not the girl you were. Not some fantasy I built up. You, right now. 49. Gray hair. Teaching poetry. Clipping coupons. All of it. I love all of it. The words should have settled her. Should have soothed the fear Amanda had planted. They didn't. I need space, Eva whispered. I need to think. About what? Whether you trust me. Whether this is real. His voice turned sharp. Hurt underneath the anger. I've given you everything. My time. My patience. My fucking heart. What more do you need? I need to not feel like I'm competing with your past. With women who are younger and more successful and... There's no competition. He moved into her space again. Desperate now. You've already won. You won 32 years ago when you looked at me in a high school hallway, and I knew I'd never want anyone else. I need to go home. She couldn't be here. Couldn't think with him this close. His cologne wrapping around her. His hands reaching for her like she was oxygen. Please, just let me go home. This is running, Eva. This is protecting myself. From what? From being happy. From being loved. His hands dropped. His face went carefully blank. Fine, run. But I won't chase you this time. You know where I am when you're ready to stop being scared. He walked out. The sound of his footsteps fading down the stairwell felt like an ending. Eva slid down the window until she sat on the floor, emerald dress pooling around her, and finally let herself break. 2 weeks passed like wading through concrete. Eva buried herself in work. Arrived at the center before dawn. Left after midnight. Threw herself into curriculum development, student meetings, administrative tasks she could have delegated. Anything to avoid the silence of her apartment. The absence of Shawn's texts. The echo of his voice saying, I won't chase you this time. He kept his word. No calls. No messages. No flowers delivered to her office. Nothing. The space she'd asked for felt like drowning. On a Wednesday afternoon, Mina showed up at the center. She'd been coming regularly, working with the gallery coordinator, photographing the students, slowly warming to the role Shawn had offered. She found Eva in the library, grading student poetry with red-rimmed eyes and coffee gone cold. "Mom, you look terrible." "Thanks. That's helpful." Mina sat across from her, set down her camera bag with deliberate care. "Have you talked to him?" "No. Are you going to?" "I don't know. He's miserable too, if that helps." Mina's voice was quiet. "I was at the gallery yesterday. He looked empty, like someone turned off his lights." Eva's chest ached. "He'll move on." "Will he?" Mina leaned forward. "Mom, I didn't trust him at first. You know that. But watching him these past months, the way he looks at you, the way he talks about you when you're not there, he's not going to move on. You're it for him." "Mina." Amanda Chun came by the gallery yesterday. Eva's blood went cold. "What?" She wanted to see the space. Asked a lot of questions about Shawn's schedule, about whether he'd been dating anyone. Mina's jaw tightened. She was fishing, trying to figure out if you two had broken up. Nausea rolled through Eva's stomach. "What did you tell her?" "I told her to leave. That her presence wasn't wanted." Mina's smile was sharp, protective. "Then I called Shawn, told him what happened." "You shouldn't have." "Yes, I should have." Mina's voice turned fierce. "Because she's the problem, Mom. Not you. Not your age or your gray hair or any of the bullshit she made you believe. She's trying to get back into Shawn's life, and you're making it easy by pushing him away." The truth of it landed like a punch. "What did Shawn do?" Eva asked quietly. "He thanked me for calling. Then he left. Didn't say where he was going." "But Mom..." Mina reached across the table, took her mother's hand. "His face when I mentioned Amanda had been asking about you? He looked ready to commit murder." Eva didn't plan to go to Shawn's office. She told herself she was just in the neighborhood, that she needed to drop off foundation paperwork, that this wasn't about Amanda or jealousy or the desperate need to see him that had been eating her alive for 2 weeks. All lies. She rode the elevator to the 40th floor with her heart in her throat. Mrs. Park looked up from her desk, surprise flickering across her usually impassive face. "Ms. Tomfield, Mr. Lee isn't expecting you." "I know. Is he in?" "He's in a meeting." "But..." Mrs. Park's expression softened almost imperceptibly. "I think he'd want to see you. Let me check." She disappeared into the office, returned 30 seconds later. "He'll see you now." Eva walked into Shawn's office on legs that felt disconnected from her body. He stood at the windows, back to the door, hands in his pockets. The gray-black-white of his hair caught afternoon light. His shoulders were tense under the expensive suit. He didn't turn when she entered. "Mrs. Park said you wanted to see me." His voice was carefully neutral. "What do you need? Not what do you want." Not her name said with warmth and possession. Just professional distance that felt like winter. "Mina told me Amanda came to the gallery." "She did." "What did you do?" "I took care of it." Eva moved closer. "What does that mean?" "It means she won't bother you again." He finally turned. His face was composed, empty, but his eyes... God, his eyes were devastated. Was there anything else? She couldn't breathe around the lump in her throat. "Shawn, because if you came here to tell me you've decided this is too hard, that I'm too much, that you want out, just say it, Eva. Put me out of my misery." "I came to apologize." He went very still. "For running. For letting Amanda get in my head. For not trusting that this us is real." Her voice cracked. "I've spent so long being invisible that I forgot what it feels like to be seen. And it terrified me. You terrify me. Not because you're dangerous. Because you make me feel things I thought I'd lost the right to feel." Shawn crossed the office in 3 strides. Stopped inches away. Close enough she felt his heat. Far enough she had to choose to close the distance. "What are you saying?" "I'm saying I'm sorry for wasting 2 weeks being scared instead of being with you." She reached up, cupped his scarred jaw. "I'm saying Amanda was wrong. I'm not past my prime. I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. With you." His hands came to her waist, gripped hard. "Say it again." "I want you. I choose you." "I..." He kissed her. desperate, claiming, like a man who'd been drowning and finally found air. His hands tangled in her hair, gray and black mixing under his fingers. Her body molded against his like coming home. When he pulled back, they were both breathing hard. "Don't run from me again," he murmured against her lips. "When you're scared, when you doubt, when the world makes you feel small, you come to me. You let me remind you who you are. Deal? Deal. Good." He kissed her again, softer this time. "Now let me show you what I did about Amanda." He pulled out his phone, showed her an email chain. Amanda Chun to Shawn Lee. Subject: reconsideration. The first email was long, pleading, explaining why they should try again, how they made sense together, how Eva was clearly just a phase. Shawn's response was 2 sentences. "Eva Tomfield is not a phase. She's permanent. If you contact her, me, or anyone in my organization again, the consequences will be severe. Consider this your only warning." Eva looked up at him. "Severe consequences?" His smile was cold. "I may have mentioned that I know about certain financial irregularities in her company's last 3 acquisitions, and that I'd hate for the SEC to receive anonymous documentation. You blackmailed her. I protected what's mine." His hand cupped her face. "You're mine, Eva. I don't play fair when it comes to you." She should be horrified, should lecture him about going too far. Instead, she kissed him, because dangerous men who protected what they loved. That was exactly what she needed. Eva moved into Shawn's penthouse on a Saturday in November, when Seoul's air turned sharp with the promise of winter. Not his mansion in the hills, that sprawling estate with staff and security gates that felt more like a fortress than a home, but a penthouse he'd bought specifically for them. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the Han River. Open-concept living space with warm wood and soft lighting. 3 bedrooms, 1 for them, 1 for her office, 1 for Mina when she visited. "Our space," he'd said, handing her the keys. "Not mine. Ours." She'd cried. Couldn't help it. 50 years old, and she was starting over with a man who looked at her like she was precious. Now she stood in the living room, surrounded by moving boxes, her houseplants lined up along the windows like a small jungle reclaiming territory. Her books mixed with his on the built-in shelves. Her terrible floral apron, the one that made him smile every time he saw it, hanging in the kitchen beside his expensive chef's knives. Their life, blending. Shawn emerged from the bedroom in jeans and a t-shirt, gray-black-white hair mussed, looking more relaxed than she'd ever seen him. He surveyed the organized chaos with something like contentment. "Coffee?" he offered. "God, yes." He moved into the kitchen with easy familiarity. She watched him work, the precise way he measured grounds, the patience as he waited for water to boil. Domestic Shawn was still strange to her. She was used to the man in tailored suits giving orders that moved millions. Not the man making her coffee exactly how she liked it. He brought her the mug. Their fingers brushed. Electric even in this simple exchange. "Happy?" he asked. "Terrified," she admitted. "But yes, happy." His smile was slow, real, the kind that reached his eyes and made the scar on his jaw shift. "Good. Get used to it. This is permanent." The certainty in his voice should have scared her. Instead, it settled something restless in her chest. Mina came for dinner on a Wednesday night. Eva had been nervous all day, cooking her daughter's favorite, galbi and japshi, her grandmother's recipes that she only made for special occasions. The kitchen smelled like soy sauce and sesame oil and home. Shawn set the table. 3 places. Wine for the adults, water for Mina who didn't drink much. He moved through the space like he belonged there, which he did now, but Eva couldn't quite believe it yet. The doorbell rang at 7 exactly. Mina was nothing if not punctual. Eva opened the door. Her daughter stood there with a bottle of wine and a tentative smile. "Hi, Mom." "Hi, baby." They hugged. When they pulled apart, Mina's eyes went past her mother to where Shawn stood in the kitchen doorway, tea towel over his shoulder, completely unthreatening. "Mina." He nodded. "Come in." The first 20 minutes were awkward. Stiff conversation about Mina's gallery work, the weather, safe topics that didn't require vulnerability. Eva wanted to scream, wanted to force them to connect because she loved them both and needed them to coexist peacefully. Then Shawn asked about Mina's photography. Really asked. Not polite small talk, but genuine interest. He'd seen her latest Instagram series, street portraits of elderly Seoulites in traditional hanbok standing against modern architecture. The contrast between old and new, past and present colliding. The composition on the Ajumma outside Dongdaemun Plaza, the way you framed her against the glass, that was intentional, right? Making her look both part of the architecture and separate from it. Mina's face lit up. Yes, exactly. Everyone else said it was too busy, that I should have simplified the background. But the business is the point. She's being swallowed by modernization. It's brilliant. Uncomfortable but brilliant. Shawn leaned forward. Have you thought about doing an exhibition? Full series exploring that theme. The gallery won't give me space. I'm too new. Too untested. My gallery will. Mina froze. What? Spring exhibition. Your series. I'll give you the main hall for 6 weeks. His voice was matter-of-fact. On one condition. Here it comes, Mina said warily. You include a piece about your mother. Eva's breath stopped. Mina looked between them. Why? Because she's part of your story. Part of Seoul's story, women who reinvent themselves. Who refuse to disappear just because the world stops seeing them. Shawn's eyes found Eva's across the table. Warm. Proud. Your mother is important, Mina. I think you should show people why. Eva's throat went tight. She blinked back tears that would have been embarrassing if Mina's eyes hadn't also gone glassy. Okay, Mina said quietly. I'll do it. After dinner, Eva started clearing plates. Shawn stood to help. Mina grabbed the wine glasses. They moved around the kitchen like a family. Like this was normal. Like they'd done this 100 times before instead of it being the first. Mina paused at the sink. Looked at Shawn loading the dishwasher with the careful precision he brought to everything. Can I ask you something? Anything. Why are you so patient with me? I was awful to you for weeks. Suspicious. Cold. Most guys would have given up. Shawn straightened. Considered the question seriously. Because you love your mother. You were protecting her. I respect that. He closed the dishwasher. I'd be concerned if you weren't suspicious of me. Are you good for her? The same question from weeks ago. But this time Mina's tone was different. More open. Actually wanting the answer. I'm dangerous for her, Shawn said honestly. My world has sharp edges. But I'm also the only man who's ever truly seen her. Including your father. He held Mina's gaze. I won't hurt her intentionally. But you already know that. You've been watching us. Mina nodded slowly. She's different with you. Lighter. Like she forgot she was allowed to be happy, and you reminded her. She did the same for me. 32 years ago. She was the first person who looked at me like I could be more than my father's reputation. She didn't believe it then. But I did. And I built a life trying to prove her right. His voice softened. Your mother saved me before she even knew I needed saving. Eva stood in the kitchen doorway, dish towel in her hands, listening. Heart full to breaking. Mina saw her. Smiled. I think I'm okay with this. With you too. Finally. Finally. Shawn's eyebrow raised. Mom's been glowing for months. I was just being stubborn. Mina moved toward the door, grabbing her coat. But if you hurt her, you'll make me regret it. I know. Shawn's smile was genuine. I'm counting on it. After Mina left, Eva collapsed against Shawn on the couch. His arm came around her automatically. She fit against his side like a puzzle piece finding home. Thank you, she murmured. For what? For seeing her. For caring about what matters to me. She's part of you. That makes her important to me. He kissed her temple. Besides, I like her. She's fierce. Protective. Good instincts. She gets that from me. I know. His hand traced patterns on her shoulder. Where do you think she learned to see people? To capture truth with a camera? You taught her that paying attention matters. Eva tilted her head back. Looked at him. This man who'd spent 3 decades remembering her. Who'd built an empire and used it to give her dreams back. I love you. She'd said it before. But this time felt different. Settled. Sure. His eyes went dark. Heated. Say it again. I love you, Shawn Lee. Your darkness and your light. Your patience and your ruthlessness. All of it. He kissed her. Deep. Thorough. The kind of kiss that promised things that made her pulse kick. Bedroom. He murmured against her mouth. Now. She went. No hesitation. No second-guessing. Just want and trust and the certainty that this was exactly where she belonged. 3 months blurred into routine. Eva woke to Shawn's alarm at 6. They'd make coffee together in comfortable silence. Her grading student poetry at the kitchen island while he read business reports on his tablet. Sometimes he'd read passages aloud. Ask her opinion on deals she didn't fully understand, but he valued her instinct. You see people, he'd explained once. You understand motivation. That's more valuable than any MBA. She'd kiss him goodbye at 7:30. He'd go to his office. She'd go to the cultural center. They'd text throughout the day, nothing profound. Just small check-ins that said, I'm thinking of you. Dinner was usually together. Sometimes at home, her cooking while he watched from the counter like she was performing magic. Sometimes at quiet restaurants where they could talk without being interrupted. Sometimes they'd skip dinner entirely, too busy removing each other's clothes to care about food. The sex was still consuming, still desperate sometimes, tender others. He touched her like she was precious, like every curve and line and gray hair was exactly what he wanted. She'd stopped apologizing for her body, stopped sucking in her stomach or hiding under sheets. He wouldn't let her hide. One night, after, she traced the scars on his chest. Some were thin white lines, others puckered and angry even years later. Tell me about this one, she said, fingers on a jagged scar below his ribs. Knife fight. I was 22. 3 guys thought they could take my father's territory. His voice was matter-of-fact. They were wrong. Did you kill them? Pause. Tension in his body. 2 of them. The 3rd ran. She should be horrified. Should pull away from the casual admission of violence. Instead, she kissed the scar. How many others? Eva. I want to know. She looked up at him. Not details. Just, how many deaths are you carrying? His jaw worked. 12. That I know about directly. More indirectly through business decisions. The number sat heavy between them. Does it bother you? He asked quietly. Knowing what I've done? It should. She traced another scar. But it doesn't. Does that make me a bad person? It makes you human. His hand cupped her face. I'm not proud of everything I've done, Eva. But I won't apologize for surviving. For protecting what's mine. I'm not asking you to. She kissed him. I know who you are. I choose you anyway. His arms tightened around her. I don't deserve you. No, you don't. But you have me anyway. Her sister Helen visited in late January. She took one look at the penthouse at Shawn at Eva's face, relaxed in a way Helen hadn't seen in decades, and pulled her into the kitchen. You're in love with him. Not a question. An observation. Yes. Really in love. Not just infatuation or rebound or... Really in love. Eva smiled. Helen, I know you're worried, but I'm happy. Genuinely happy. Helen studied her face, searching for cracks, finding none. He treats you well? Better than I knew I deserved. And the dangerous stuff? The rumors about his business are probably true. I'm not naive. Eva leaned against the counter. But I also know he'd die before letting anything happen to me or Mina. Some men are dangerous to women. Shawn is dangerous for women. There's a difference. Helen was quiet for a long moment. Then I hope you know what you're doing. Because men like him don't just have enemies, Eva. They have wars. And you're choosing to stand in the crossfire. I know. And you're okay with that? Eva thought about the past 6 months. The way Shawn looked at her. The life they were building. The person she'd become, visible, valued, vital. I'm more than okay with it. I'm grateful. Everything was perfect. Too perfect. Eva should have known it wouldn't last. On a Tuesday in February, she was teaching an afternoon poetry workshop when her phone buzzed. Once, twice, 3 times in rapid succession. She ignored it, focused on the 16-year-old reading her poem about her grandmother's hands, about memory and loss and trying to hold on to things that slip through your fingers like water. The poem was beautiful, raw, the kind of honesty that only came from pain. After class, Eva checked her phone. Unknown sender. Email. No subject line. She opened it. Her blood turned to ice. 1 line of text. Remember Marcus Wright? He remembers you. Below it, a photograph. Eva at 23, younger, different haircut, standing outside a London flat with a man's arm around her shoulders. She was smiling, looked happy, looked like someone she barely recognized anymore. The man beside her was handsome, British, 30-something in the photo, which would make him late 50s now. Marcus Wright, a name she hadn't spoken in 27 years. Her hands shook holding the phone. London, 1997. The worst mistake of her life. The secret she'd buried so deep, she'd almost convinced herself it had never happened. Coming back to destroy everything. But she wouldn't let it happen. She couldn't. Not when she had just started building a life with Shawn. She quickly deleted the email, but the past always has a way of catching up to you even when you least expect. The email arrived on a Thursday morning while Shawn was in a video conference with investors in Singapore. His secondary monitor lit up with the notification. He glanced at it out of habit, scanning for anything urgent that couldn't wait 90 minutes. The subject line made him go still. Ask Eva about London. 1997. No sender name. Just a string of numbers and letters that looked like a burner account. No message body. No attachments. Just those 6 words that felt like a grenade rolling across his desk. Shawn's jaw tightened. He finished the conference call on autopilot, gave the right answers, made the necessary commitments, his mind only half present. The investors didn't notice. They never did. He'd spent decades perfecting the mask. The moment the call ended, he forwarded the email to his head of security. Find out who sent this, and what happened in London in 1997. I want a full report by tomorrow morning. Pull whatever resources you need. He stared at the email for 5 more minutes, reading it again and again, looking for context that wasn't there. London, 1997. Eva would have been 23, just graduated. He remembered because he'd still been checking on her obsessively back then, making sure she was safe, happy, moving forward with her life even though she'd broken his heart. She'd spent a semester abroad. He knew that much. Came back different, quieter, more careful. He'd thought it was just maturity, growing up. Now he wondered what he'd missed. That evening, Eva was radiant. She moved around their kitchen with easy grace, cooking japshi and talking about her day. One of her students had written a poem that made her cry. Good tears. The kind that meant breakthrough rather than breakdown. She wrote about her father's deportation, used the metaphor of a tree being ripped from soil, roots exposed, dying slowly. Eva's eyes were bright, passionate. Shawn, it was devastating and beautiful and real. This is why I do this work. He loved watching her like this, alive, present, so far from the invisible woman who'd stood in a ballroom 6 months ago looking like she wanted to disappear. Now she was the sun he orbited, which made what he had to ask even harder. They sat down to dinner. Wine poured. Candles lit because Eva liked the ritual of it. Small ceremonies that made normal nights feel special. She was laughing at something Mina had texted. Some joke about the gallery coordinator's terrible coffee. Her face was soft, unguarded. Eva. Something in his tone made her look up. Smile fading slightly. Have you ever been to London? She froze. It was subtle, most people wouldn't have noticed. But Shawn had spent 32 years studying this woman's every micro-expression. He saw the way her fingers tightened on the wine glass, the way her breath caught, the flash of something dark across her face. Fear, guilt, panic, before she smoothed it away. Why do you ask? Her voice was careful. Too careful. Someone sent me an email. Suggested I ask you about London. 1997. The color drained from her face. All of it. She went pale as paper. What did the email say? Just that. Nothing else. He leaned forward. Kept his voice gentle even though dread was coiling in his gut. What happened in London, Eva? She set down her wine glass. Her hands were shaking. Actually shaking. I can't talk about this. You can tell me anything. He reached for her hand. She pulled back. That hurt more than he'd expected. Not this. Her voice cracked. Terrified. Shawn, please. Don't dig into this. Someone's threatening you. Using your past as leverage. His voice went cold. The temperature drop that made business rivals reconsider their positions. I need to know what I'm protecting you from. You can't protect me from this. Tears spilled over. She didn't wipe them away. Just sat there crying silently while their dinner went cold. No one can. The fear in her voice sent ice through his veins. Eva, if you dig into this, if you pull that thread, everything unravels. She grabbed his hands desperately. Her grip was crushing. My life. Your life. Mina's life. Please. Trust me. Let this go. Every instinct screamed at him to push. To demand answers. To tear apart whoever had sent that email and left her looking broken. But she was begging. And he'd never been able to deny her anything. Tell me what you can, he said finally. Carefully. Just give me something, Eva. Help me understand. She took a shaking breath. Then another. Struggling for composure she couldn't quite find. I was 23. Studying abroad in London. Her voice was barely audible. There was a man. Older. Connected. Dangerous. I got involved in something I shouldn't have. It ended badly. She looked at him with red-rimmed eyes. I came home. Buried it. Never spoke of it again. That's all I can tell you. Eva. Please. She was begging now. Openly. If you love me, if you trust me, you'll let this go. He wanted to argue. Wanted to pull her into his arms and promise he'd fix this. Eliminate the threat. Make it disappear like he'd made so many other problems disappear. But she was asking for trust. And trust meant respecting boundaries even when they cut. I'll make you a deal, he said finally. I won't dig. But if this person contacts you directly, if they threaten you, you tell me immediately. No exceptions. Relief flooded her face. I promise. Eva, I mean it. The second you hear from them, I'll tell you. I promise. She was lying. He could see it in the way she wouldn't quite meet his eyes. But he let her have the lie because taking it away would break her. They went to bed that night without making love. Just held each other in the dark. Her body was tense against his. He felt her breathing too fast, too shallow. Felt her trying to memorize this moment. Like she thought it might be the last. 3 days later, the second email arrived. Eva was at the cultural center, alone in her office during lunch, when her phone buzzed. Personal email. Unknown sender. Subject. You can't hide from the past. Her heart stopped, then kicked into overdrive, hammering so hard her chest hurt. She opened the email with trembling fingers. The photograph again. It was as if a reminder that you can't hide for long. It loaded first. Eva at 23, God. She looked like a baby. Different haircut. No gray. Face full of naive certainty that the world was kind. Standing outside a brick London flat with a man's arm around her shoulders. Marcus Wright. Handsome in that polished British way. 30-something when the photo was taken, which would make him late 50s now. Dark hair that would be gray by now. Smile that had seemed charming then but she recognized now as predatory. She was smiling in the photo. Looking happy. Looking like she had no idea what was coming. The text below the image made her blood freeze. Hello, Eva. It's been a long time. Marcus is dying. Cancer. 6 months, maybe less. Before he goes, he wants to settle old debts. You remember debts, don't you? He knows where you are. Who you're with. That lovely daughter of yours. The billionaire boyfriend with the interesting past. He knows about the money you took. The people who got hurt because of what you did. The lies you've been living. We'll be in touch with instructions soon. Don't tell your boyfriend. Marcus has friends in Seoul. Friends who could hurt the people you love. Starting with Mina. We're watching. Eva's hands shook so violently she nearly dropped the phone. London. 1997. The money. The people who got hurt. Marcus Wright and his connections that ran deeper and darker than she'd understood when she was 23 and stupid and thought she could outsmart dangerous men. She'd thought she'd escaped. Thought that moving back to Seoul, marrying James, building a normal life would bury the past deep enough it could never surface. But the past never stayed buried. Not really. She read the email again. The threat to Mina landed like a physical blow. Her daughter. Her baby. The one purely good thing she'd ever created. Don't tell your boyfriend. They knew about Shawn. Knew she'd have to choose between his protection and Mina's safety. Knew that threatening her daughter was the one thing that would keep her silent. Eva's vision blurred. She couldn't breathe. The office walls closed in. With shaking hands, she deleted the email. Cleared her trash. Cleared her deleted items folder. Erased every trace like that would make it less real. Didn't. She sat at her desk with her head in her hands and tried to figure out how to protect everyone she loved when she was the weapon being used against them. The bathroom in the penthouse had heated floors and a rainfall shower and luxury soaps that cost more than her weekly grocery budget used to. Eva sat on the cool tile floor with her back against the tub and her phone dark beside her. She thought she'd escaped that life. That girl she'd been. Desperate and reckless and willing to do terrible things to survive. But the past didn't let you escape. It waited, patient, until you built something worth destroying. Then it came back and burned everything down. Shawn knocked softly on the bathroom door. Eva? You okay? She wiped her face. Stood on unsteady legs. Caught her reflection in the mirror. Red eyes, pale skin, fear written in every line. She splashed cold water on her face. Smoothed her hair. Tried to rebuild the mask. When she opened the door, Shawn was leaning against the frame. Gray-black-white hair falling across his forehead. Dark eyes seeing too much. I'm fine. The lie tasted like ash. He didn't believe her. She could see it in the way his jaw tightened. The way he studied her face like he was reading a contract for hidden clauses. But he didn't push. Just held out his hand. Come to bed. She took his hand. Let him lead her to their bedroom. Their bedroom in their penthouse, the life they'd built that was about to come crashing down. He pulled her against his chest. His heartbeat was steady under her ear. Strong. Certain. Everything she wasn't. She tried to memorize this feeling. Safety. Love. Home. Because soon, very soon, she was going to have to tell him the truth. About London. About Marcus. About the money she'd stolen and the people who died because of her choices and the fact that she wasn't the woman he thought she was. And when she did, he might not want her anymore. Worse, Marcus's people might hurt him to get to her. The thought made her sick. She curled tighter against Shawn. Felt his arms around her. Felt the rise and fall of his breathing slow as he drifted toward sleep. She didn't sleep. Just lay there in the dark. Feeling the weight of secrets and lies and old debts coming due. Somewhere in Seoul, Marcus Wright's people were watching. Waiting. Planning their next move. And Eva was out of time. Some debts can never be repaid. And some secrets are worth killing for. Eva's past is coming for her. Marcus Wright wants his revenge. And Shawn doesn't know the whole truth. What do you think Eva did in London in 1997? Drop your theories in the comments below. If you want part 3 where all the secrets explode, hit that subscribe button and smash the notification bell. You do not want to miss what happens next. Should Eva tell Shawn everything? Also, what country are you watching from and what time is it right now? I love seeing where this story finds you around the world. Part 3 is going to be explosive. Trust me, you'll want to be here when it drops.